Hello, hello. Could we all please take our seats? And speakers in the front row, please. Everyone get seated. Thank you. Welcome to our 11th Civic Leadership Award. The only year we missed was the first year of the pandemic. The last two were over Zoom. So we're back, and we're so glad to be celebrating in person. Tonight, we are here to confer the League of Women Voters of Winchester Civic Leadership Award to a man who we believe has made significant contributions to civic life at the local level. What our award criteria calls for in our honorees are a high level of competence, civility, and an inclusive approach to solving problems in our community. Wei Han is the man we have chosen to recognize and celebrate tonight. Yay! Wei's achievements are brought about through his intelligence and especially his idealism, while working in collaboration with others to resolve issues. Before we get to Wei's many accomplishments, I want to share some of Wei's background. He was born an only child in Beijing, China in 1972. Learning English in high school, he opted to attend college at Gonzaga University in Spokane, Washington, where he majored in computer science. Wei next moved to the Boston area in 1996, first working for a small startup company that was acquired by Epsilon. Thus, he has worked for Epsilon for the past 27 years as a computer engineer. Wei moved to Winchester in 2003, married Eris in 2004, and they have two daughters. Elena, a freshman at Tufts University, who is right now in a 3-hour bio lab, can't join us, and Nicole, a junior at a private school. We will be hearing from her later this evening. Wei's parents also joined him in Winchester, and sadly his dad passed away. But his father is buried in Wildwood Cemetery, so Winchester is home to the Han family. Wei became active in town affairs in 2012, when he was approached by a group of town activists advocating for an upcoming Winchester High School renovation override. Earlier, in 2012, Wei had created the Parent Association of the Winchester School of Chinese Culture to support the school, its parents, and the community. He then mobilized Chinese school and many parents in the successful override campaign. Not surprisingly, Wei was then encouraged to run for town meeting member. In 2013, he became Winchester's first Chinese American town meeting member. The New England model of self-governance appealed to him, as did campaigning and asking for people's vote. Wei was again instrumental in turning out the Chinese community's voting in town elections, effectively improving his participation rate from a handful to over 100. In 2016, Wei co-founded the Chinese American Network of Winchester, also known as Can Win, with Mr. Liu, and became its president in 2019. This network continued to promote voting and also organized Chinese residents into town activities. In the early days of the pandemic, Can Win stepped up to help the Winchester community by providing over 44,000 PPEs, including masks and goggles, to seniors, senior housing residents, 5 nursing homes, 20 hospitals, and local police and firefighters. In 2017, Wei became a board member of the Council of Aging, where he introduced the Chinese community to the Jenks Center. He is actively involved with the Council of Aging in bridging diverse communities, as well as conducting surveys of local residents to learn more about how the Jenks Center can better serve Winchester. In 2017, Wei also joined the Network for Social Justice Board and became very active in its Immigration Justice Committee work. That's also known as the IJC. In 2021, he became the network's president. Many of you will recall the Atlanta SPAR shooting of 8 individuals on March 16, 2021. 6 of those killed were Asian Americans, highlighting the rise of hate speech and attacks in America. And Massachusetts wasn't immune. Some Winchester residents experienced hate speech while commuting to work in Boston. Wei and the IJC organized an End Asian Hate floating candlelit lantern vigil with speakers for the state and town government as well as Winchester's houses of worship. The community-wide event was healing for many and so beautiful. In 2022, Wei's IJC and the League of Women Voters of Winchester submitted a warrant to town meeting which would ask the Massachusetts legislature to permit our non-citizen legal residents to locally vote and hold office. Wei's compelling voice led to its passage and subsequent home rule petition requests to the state legislature. Some of us in this room, Susan Verdecchio, and myself from the Winchester League, Phil Coonley, wearing the IJC and League hat, worked with Wei on this warrant, where Wei exemplified the listening skills, idealism, compassion, and competence called for in our Civic Leadership Award criteria. Oh, and in his spare time, Wei is also a member of the WinCam board and trustee for the Winchester Community Music School. Does this man ever sleep? In summary, the League of Women Voters of Winchester is so proud to recognize and honor Wei's many accomplishments and outstanding service to the Winchester community. And now we will hear from other individuals who know him well and have worked with him. Welcome, State Senator Jason Lewis.
Thank you, Marilyn. Good evening, everyone. I want to start by thanking the League of Women Voters of Winchester for your tireless efforts to promote civic engagement in our community. The Civic Leadership Award is just one of many ways that the League supports an informed and engaged citizenry and a stronger democracy. Thank you. So I'm thrilled that this year's recipient of the award is Wei Han. I cannot think of a more deserving person for this recognition. Don't remember exactly when I first met Wei, but I certainly recall our efforts a decade ago to help educate the Winchester community about the dire need for a new high school. Wei was tireless in reaching out to other members of the Chinese American community to explain the override process, provide helpful information, and answer questions. There is no question that he was instrumental in this successful campaign. As you know, Wei has gone on since then to serve the Winchester community in so many different ways, becoming an elected town meeting member, working to increase voter participation in local elections, actually in all elections, co-founding the Chinese American Network of Winchester, serving on the board of the Network for Social Justice, as well as the Council on Aging, as well as additional boards that I just heard about and didn't even know about until tonight. Winchester is changing and becoming a more diverse community, but it remains challenging for people of color and those who are not native English speakers to serve in leadership roles in community organizations and in local government. Wei is a role model, not just for the Chinese American community, but for all Winchester residents who may never have seen themselves being active in civic life. Wei, tonight you join a very impressive group of former recipients of the Civic Leadership Award, a number of whom are with us this evening, and I want to extend my congratulations to them as well. And I also noted something very unusual when I looked at the list of former recipients. You're actually the first male recipient. Don't see that very often, do you? So from one man to another, go away. So congratulations to Wei, to you and to your family. And please, let me know when you decide to run for the Winchester Select Board so I can join your campaign.
And now we'll hear from State Rep Mike Day.
Thank you, Marilyn. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. I just want to make sure we're awake. I love coming to the League events because the League, whether it's Marilyn or other leaders, tell you exactly what you're doing, where you're sitting, when you're speaking. There's no uncertainty. So it's great to be back here. Again, I walked in, Marilyn, you're up front. You're going to be speaking second. It's great to be with everyone. It's great that we're all back out and getting back to a sense of normalcy. I know it's been some time, and we've been doing it in fits and starts. But tonight, I couldn't be more thrilled to be with you all here tonight to celebrate Wei for an incredibly well-deserved recognition. I was going to talk a little bit about Wei as the perfect American, right? As somebody who came over, left his homeland, and built a community here in America and enriched us, those that he joined in this community. We were raised with the story of the melting pot, and then that was improved as we heard about the salad bowl, right? Everyone brings something new into it. You don't lose your identity, you add to the bowl. And Wei has certainly done that here in Winchester. And we are a better community because of Wei's involvement. But I thought that is what folks would always say about Wei. I just wanted to share a story personal to me of when Wei came up to me over at the Winchester School and said in my re-election campaign back in 2015, I had gotten out in front and spoke on the transgender equality bill. And that was going to be a central election. There was a ballot question 3, to talk about that bill. And there were a number of individuals in this community who were uncomfortable with the vote and didn't really have much exposure to the vote. And Wei said, why don't you come over and talk? We'll get a classroom and we'll sit down and talk. And I said, I couldn't be more thrilled to take you up on that. And that discussion was one of the more enlightening ones to me because it wasn't individuals coming up with an agenda. It was individuals voicing their concerns, voicing their questions about what the initiative did, about what it would mean to them as parents and community members, and having an honest back and forth. And it was one of the few times on a campaign trail where you can have that, because people usually come in with set perspectives on there. I came out of that discussion, and I want to thank Wei for that. I don't think I've ever formally thanked you for that. Reinvigorated on the campaign trail. I didn't win votes in that election, in that meeting room. I don't know that I convinced many folks of my position. I know some came around, but there was still healthy skepticism from folks and commitments to learn more about the issue. That meeting, to me, reaffirmed why we're here in the United States and reaffirmed to me the value that Wei brings to us here in this community. So I couldn't think of a better person, man or woman, Jason, to be recognized here tonight. The litany of honorees in the past is, as I say to the Winchester Citizen of the Year dinner, you get it right. And you certainly got it right tonight. So Wei, thank you for all you've done. Thank you for the incredible work you continue to do here in this community. And thank you for letting me be a small part of it.
And now Leora Norwich from the Network for Social Justice.
Hi, everyone. I'm going to move this down a little. Can I? I'm very short compared to the previous speakers. And those are hard words to follow. Hi, everybody. I'm Leora. I am the Executive Director of the Network for Social Justice. And as everyone here tonight has said, it's really an honor to be here to be able to recognize Wei, a board member and former president of the Network for Social Justice, and a person I have been so privileged to work with over the last almost 5 years that I've been here with you all in Winchester. Okay, I'm literally on my tippy toes, so I'm going to turn it a little more. Okay. I thought I'd start also with a short story about Wei. Picture it. It's the midst of the pandemic. I headed to the office on a very dreary day in the winter. I honestly cannot remember exactly when it was during the pandemic, but let's say it's the beginning of 2021. Who could keep track? I'm actually immunocompromised, and so I really went into our office very little those days when we were all trying to limit our in-person interactions, only when it was absolutely necessary. It was the era of social distancing. The Network for Social Justice was quite actually a quiet place then and very lonely. Working for justice and equity felt at that time, as it always does, as important as ever, but it also felt isolating and without the high touch that I had come to know, expect, and depend on in this community. Headed out of the office at about 4:30 in the afternoon. Parking lot was completely empty and it was dark. But who did I see walking towards me but Wei? He was carrying a box full of N95s, masks, the ones that at that moment were still very hard to come by. While reprimanding me for feeling the need to come into the office, he handed me about 15 masks for myself and asked me who else I knew who might need them because he was happy to deliver them in person. He then shared with me, in a very quiet and modest way, that through his collaborative efforts at CanWin, they had imported PPE equipment, including masks and goggles, to Winchester. What he failed to mention is what Marilyn mentioned earlier. It actually amounted to this massive collection effort of over 44,000 pieces of equipment, which went all over Winchester, including to essential workers. That very day, Wei's efforts moved me almost to tears. Not only had he remembered me, tucked away at the Network for Social Justice office on Shore Road, but there he was in the middle of the pandemic doing exactly what he always does, mobilizing resources and people in the community for good, being strategic and civic-minded in his efforts, and helping support all those around him with his personal high touch. He reminded me that day why we do this work of civic engagement, even in the really dark days, and why together we are making a difference. I have worked with Wei in countless ways at the Network for Social Justice, from vigils after the Atlanta shooting in May 2021, those amazing candles that we set, to AAPI heritage celebrations with students in Winchester and other community groups, international connections events right here at the Jenks with families and older adults in and around Winchester, and through countless fundraisers and board meetings that sometimes run very late into the evening. He always shows up willing to help, happy to listen, excited to learn, and ready to engage. I think I would just like to end by saying that I have drawn amazing strength from Wei's presence in this community, and inspiration, as others have mentioned, from the models that he set with his boundless energy. We very often joke that we have no idea when he sleeps, and above all, his compassion. Wei, thank you so much for inspiring us and letting me say a few words today.
Annie Chung from the Chinese American Network of Winchester.
Thank you, Marilyn. Hi, everybody. Good evening. My name is Annie Chung. I have been a Winchester resident for 13 years. I'm very excited and proud to be here today to celebrate Wei Han's 2023 Civic Leadership Award. I have known Wei for 12 years. We have a lot in common. We both immigrated to Massachusetts from China. Our two children are of similar ages, and our houses are close to each other. We share many concerns, and we have the same passion for building a diverse, inclusive, and vibrant community. Wei has devoted himself to a passion. Of many roles, he is responsible at various organizations and entities in town. He always strikes me with his talent of identifying and helping address particular needs of community, and his ability to build consensus through diligent fact-finding. The Chinese community in Winchester has been steadily growing for the past number of years. One of the challenges faced by these new families is integration into the town and participation in the town affairs. Wei has done a phenomenal job of providing not only information, but more importantly opportunities for these new members to get involved. Wei has also set a great example of serving the community selflessly and tirelessly, from finding transportation for Winchester's senior resident to organizing events for residents to meet candidates for various levels of elections. Through Wei's tremendous leadership, the Chinese residents have become one of the most active groups of voters in Winchester. And the town is benefiting from more diverse voices in its decision-making. As a sign of recognition and respect, Wei is fondly called Chairman Han by many fellow Chinese in town. Lastly, in his true community leader fashion of taking every opportunity to promote his community, Wei asked me to tell you a bit about the Chinese American Network of Winchester, CanWin. CanWin is a community organization founded in 2018 by Wei and a few other Chinese town residents to help address the needs of the Chinese community in Winchester. Wei is the currently chair of board of 9 directors, and I am the vice chair. CanWin provides a platform for organizing community events with Chinese elements, such as Spring Festival celebration with Chinese food and games. CanWin is also a forum where concerns of town affairs from Chinese community are raised and discussed, with a goal of fact-finding and information sharing. Like many other organizations, CanWin was significantly impacted by the pandemic, and it is adapting to the new post-COVID environment. CanWin would love the opportunity to collaborate with other organizations in town to benefit our community. Finally, congratulations again to Wei and his outstanding work. Thank you, Wei. Thank you, everyone.
And now, fellow town meeting member Amanda Lewis.
My name is Amanda Lewis. I'm very honored to speak tonight about Wei Han, who is a friend and someone for whom I have tremendous respect and admiration. Wei and I are both town meeting members, but I think we first got to know each other through conversations about the value of a community pool for Winchester, and specifically what a town pool would mean for Chinese families in town. Those were meaningful conversations for me. I wanted to hear about what would work for the Chinese community, and Wei was genuinely interested in explaining to me what those needs were. Wei made it easy to talk about cultural differences. He was very open and earnest in telling me what some of those issues were. To consider the whole family, he said, including grandparents from China who might not know how to drive, might not know how to swim, and might experience language barriers. His goal then, and I know it continues to be a goal, is for Chinese families in Winchester to feel involved and connected to what's happening in town, to feel valued as members of society, and to know that they have a voice in community life. This has motivated Wei ever since he moved to town in 2003, and it particularly took root in 2012, when he began the Parents Association of the Chinese School. 4 years later, he partnered with Zhifeng Lu, and the Parent Association developed into the Chinese American Network of Winchester, which is a wonderful organization in town. But going back to 2012, which you've heard about a little bit already, the Winchester High School override was on the ballot. Wei was approached by some folks in town. I think it's nice to talk about who they were. It was Carol Savage, Jason Lewis, Susan Verdicchio, Tom Howley, to bring the Chinese community in on the conversation about rebuilding the high school. Wei was then asked to join the steering committee to pass the override, And again, he spoke to members of the Chinese community about what a new building would mean for their children's education. He told me that many of the people he spoke to were green card holders, and they didn't actually have the ability to vote. And I think this is really notable, Wei empowered them to get involved anyway. They held signs, they got signatures, and they donated money because that's what they could do. The override passed by a landslide, and it was at a point in time when overrides often failed. It was so exciting to see this level of civic engagement, and Wei told me he was thrilled. The next thing he did was run for town meeting, again with the encouragement of some friends in town. He won, becoming the first Chinese town meeting member. Wei started spreading the word and making sure others in the Chinese community in Winchester knew about how town government worked. Not just about the national elections, but about the local March election as well. Because of Wei, there's been a dramatic increase in the number of Chinese residents voting. That engagement that he wanted, he worked for, and it happened. Inclusion in town politics is great for the Chinese community, and it is great for everyone in Winchester. Everyone should feel that the decisions being made in our town are accessible to them and take them into account. When I recently met Wei for coffee in town, I loved the way that he described American political involvement. He said he found town meeting to be an eye-opening experience. He said here were volunteers, not getting paid, who had come to have a say on important decisions about the town. Here were people who debated, who had an exchange of ideas, sometimes a real argument, but they could consider both sides, push back with questions, and then leave the building walking side by side, talking about their kids. Wei said he found it inspiring. Well, Wei, we find you inspiring. From your work on voting to your continued involvement with many, many facets of town life, Winchester is truly stronger and better because of you. So thank you so much.
Council of Aging, Tom Howley. Some people didn't get the memo.
Thank you. It's really a great honor. I don't know how much more I have to add that you haven't already heard, but I'm happy to pile on. So my specific assignment tonight is to focus on Wei's contribution to the Jenks Center. But like others have done, I want to briefly try to place the importance of Wei's leadership in the larger context of who we are and who we are becoming as a community. It's through the commitment and caring of engaged, talented members of our community, many of whom are here tonight, I'm happy to say, that Winchester, generation after generation, is always becoming the community that I believe we aspire to be, a caring, connected community. A community that leaves no one behind, so that all residents, including, thanks in no small measure to the person we honor tonight, non-citizen legal residents, are seen and heard, are respected and valued, and encouraged to participate in and enrich the quality of our civic life, our governance, and the culture and values of our community. You know, Wei in many ways is both example and agent of this historic generational journey towards inclusion and equity and empowerment. A journey often interrupted yet advancing that Winchester and our country still travel. I have had the privilege of serving with Wei on the Winchester Council on Aging Advisory Board beginning a few years after we first met, when, as you've all heard tonight, seems like many of us met, when we each volunteered for the 2012 campaign to build the new high school. My first impression of Wei has remained constant, and perhaps it's best expressed by the League's own description of Wei as a wonderfully collaborative, civic-minded, generous leader. I might add smart, talented, kind, creative, empathetic, strategic, effective, but the League's description rings true for all who know Wei.
As with the other organizations and initiatives he has served, Way's contribution to the Jenks Center and the Winchester Council on Aging have been significant. He has reflected and reinforced our best values as an organization, advancing the Jenks mission to promote healthy aging, independence, engagement, and the well-being of Winchester's older adults and the community that supports them, all the while that we try to reach everyone we can. It's through Way that the Jenks has dramatically expanded who we serve, enabling us to reach the growing Winchester Chinese community in meaningful ways. One example is our English second language course for Mandarin-speaking members of our community. The program, now in its 4th successful year, through the generous support of the Cummings Foundation, has over 70 participants each year and is a great companion program to the citizenship training courses offered at the Winchester School of Chinese Culture. Other programs at the Jenks that reflect Way's leadership include recruiting a team to regularly provide translation assistance throughout the Jenks, intergenerational programming, health services for older Chinese residents, a calligraphy class, and a very popular ping pong program, I might add. And I'm hoping intercultural dance and cooking may soon be in the mix. But in addition to these specific initiatives, Way's thoughtful presence on our board, his authentic listening, his respectful critical thinking, and willingness to engage and get things done has been absolutely invaluable to us. And it's with Way's guidance that the Jenk continues the important ongoing work of identifying opportunities for cultural exchange, celebration, and appreciation between all of the Jenk's patrons. In doing all of this, Way has helped inform and strengthen the services and programs that have made the Jenk Center one of the leading older adult active living centers in the Commonwealth. As the League of Women Voters says in its mission statement, the responsibility of good governance rests on the shoulders of its citizens. This is a responsibility modeled and passed down from one generation to the next. As one generation of Winchester community leaders steps back, another generation is encouraged and mentored to step forward, to keep the fire of civic engagement burning brightly. And Way, we thank you for putting another log on that fire. I can think of no better recipient of the League's Civic Leadership Award than Wei Han. And on behalf of the patrons, staff, volunteers of the Jenk Center, thank you, Wei, and thank you to your family for sharing you with us. Thanks.
We have an addition to our program tonight. It is Jennifer Zhang from the Chinese School.
I cannot miss this speech. I have the privilege of knowing Wei for more than 15 years. As the principal for the Winchester Chinese School, I have witnessed firsthand Wei's dedication to community service and his leadership. Wei created this parent association for our school when we were so busy with just, registration, running the school, and he stepped in and said that you need help. Let me help you organize the parents, directing traffic, bring down the tables, do all these work for you guys. And his contribution not only ensured the weekly smooth operation of the school, but also strengthened the bonds among parents. And he paved the way for our school's engagement, participation in culture exchange in the Winchester community. But Wei's impact extends beyond the walls of the schools. He co-founded, the Wing Can. My sister, who was a doctor at Tufts Hospital, was the recipient for all these, mask, goggles during these awful times that they have no mask in the hospital. Wei wears many more hats in the community. He serves on the board of a network for social justice, board on Council on Aging, Wing Camp, community music schools, and the Winchester Hospital too. His commitment to improve the lives of Winchester residents across all ages and cultural backgrounds is truly inspiring. As the first elected Chinese American town meeting members, he has broken barriers and expanded the representation. And thanks to him, many more Chinese parents are active members of Winchester governance now. His commitment to unity, civic engagement, and cultural exchange is a gift to us all. And congratulations, Wei, for receiving the 2023 Civic Leadership Award. It's an honor that you truly deserve.
And now, this has to be raised for Nicole. Nicole Han. Am I doing this right? Come on up. How do you do this? All right. I hope that's okay.
Hello, everyone. I am Nicole Han, Wei's youngest daughter, and I'm going to tell you today how uncanny it is for my dad to manage his life by being late, yet accomplishing what needs to be done. I'm not surprised that he was the last one to show up to your meeting. I'm surprised that he made it to the ceremony on time today. How does my personal chauffeur, chef, and butler manage to juggle his job and what he does for the community? Whether every morning we rush out to school, I am 10 minutes late to my sports practice, or he completely forgot that I have a dentist appointment. This curiosity about my dad's tardiness brings me back to my childhood, particularly to the Sundays when I was just 4 years old attending Chinese school at Lynch Elementary School. After my Chinese class ended, I would sit on a bench, patiently waiting for my dad to pick me up. However, this seemingly simple routine was far from straightforward. I couldn't help but notice the other parents collecting their children, while my classmates scattered, leaving me alone. During those moments of isolation, I began to contemplate the reasons behind these endless waits. On one occasion, my curiosity got the better of me, and I decided to investigate where my dad was during these times. I was roaming around the hallways, and through the big hallways from a distance, I saw my father diligently cleaning the cafeteria and then talking to Chinese seniors, teachers, and parents. This sight raised a series of questions in my mind. Why was he cleaning up after others? What was the purpose behind these selfless actions? Back in the car ride home, I asked him why. His response was, 上善若水, meaning the highest virtue resembles water. Day to day, small contributions to the community will make a big difference. We can make a stronger community by one act at a time. This left me puzzled, as I was way too young to grasp the concept of the philosopher Lao Tzu. As the years went by and I grew older, I started to recognize the profound importance of contributing to one's community. My father's late-night returns from town meetings related to the construction of Winchester High School and his involvement in organizing various community events has always perplexed me during my elementary school years. However, as I enter my sophomore year of high school, I now understand. Water is gentle, adaptable, and essential for life. It is the collective effort of the countless tiny water droplets that give rise to mighty rivers, vast lakes, and the world's oceans. Likewise, in a community, it is the cumulative actions, efforts, and contributions of individuals that lead to the creation of a strong, vibrant, and supportive society. Dad, we are so proud of you. But remember, I have an orthodontist appointment scheduled for next Wednesday. Thank you.
Well, that was the perfect ending for the speakers. So Han, can you please come up? Wei will make some remarks, of course, but I wanted to first present him, here you are, with the League Award. And you'll see it afterwards. And speakers, please stay for pictures. We're going to take a picture with Wei, with all of the speakers individually. So it reads, League of Women Voters of Winchester Civic Leadership Award presented to Wei Han for furthering inclusion, empathy, and generosity in Winchester and beyond, September 20th, 2023.
Thank you so much. Well, let me clarify. Both my daughters are very on time, very punctual. They got this from my wife. Yeah, luckily. She was unbelievable on time. Even many years ago when we were dating, she was never late, not even for once had me to wait. So I'm glad my kids inherited that trait from, yeah. And also that, I really want to thank my wife for, all these years and supporting me. And I did go to those meetings. And the people I meet with are here tonight. Yeah. 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 This is a great honor, and I know it's a recognition and encouragement for the first generation immigrants and the Winchester Chinese community as a whole. I'm now just speaking modestly because many people here tonight I know personally that the length and the depths they have served this community. Now I know that Winchester is known for its volunteers, and many of you that served for decades, 30, 40 years, I know, and many of you served in the select board, in school committees, in a lot of committees and subcommittees. I heard that sometimes people are out of home 3 times a week just to serve, to make Winchester a better community, and none of you got any paid. Yeah, so it's an incredible learning journey for me. So I'm going to keep my speech very short, and I want to really appreciate everyone, and I want to appreciate League of Women Voters, give me this recognition. I'm very fortunate. I'm fortunate that I got to know a lot of good people, and I'll reserve the last that how I started. But I met Senator Jason Lewis. He was a strong supporter of the Chinese community long before I was active. I met him at Chinese school 13, 14 years ago, when he was there telling the parents and the residents about what's going on Beacon Hill. And then Representative Day, he has been close to our community since day one. If memory serves me, I think the same night in the morning, he announced his candidacy for state representative, and then he reached out to Jennifer and I at Chinese school. He wants to get in touch with the Chinese community. He wants to connect with the residents and with the parents there. And we were so touched by that. And that Network for Social Justice, that it was amazing. Senator Lewis mentioned that Winchester has become increasingly diversified, and someone 32 years ago had that vision. And the network's co-founders are here tonight, and they're incredible. Yeah, and now with Lior's leadership, that we are really advancing to build a more inclusive and welcome community for everyone. Yeah. Very proud to be a part of that. And the Chinese American network that my partner of crime, Ji Feng, he is sitting in the back in the last row. We co-founded this organization. He was so instrumental during the pandemic that one of his medical and scientific equipment supplier created a team for him that keep sending the non-medical grade protective gears to Winchester, to his office, because they know he would help the community. And so we were together working day and night to help to distribute them to a lot of needing places. So, and we are so proud of that. Our residents really stepped up. We raised more than $100,000. Many of them received high-quality protective gears, masks, carving gowns, goggles, shoe covers, and then they just give to us, ask us to give to the community instead of protecting their own family members. So it was really a defining moment for the Chinese community during the crisis. So I was very proud of that. And many organizations and music schools, WinCam, they all had this diversity and inclusion in their policy. And Council on Aging, I don't know if Philip's still here, Tom and Philip and Jennifer now is running a wonderful organization. Now we have 70, 80 Chinese seniors coming to the center on a weekly basis. So I helped the Jenks WSA conduct a survey on the patrons. And I helped them to translate some of the survey questions into Chinese, collect the results. And 2 seniors wrote down on the comments part saying that they don't feel lonely anymore after coming to Jenks. It was incredible. When I was reading that, I had tears in my eyes. Out of pandemic and immigrant seniors, after the isolations and loneliness, and they found home here. So that's average day's work that a lot of people here are making it happen. I'm truly grateful to be a part of it. Yeah, I'm really fortunate that I got to know a lot of nice people, and I'm very lucky that we have a strong Chinese community here. Now let me share with you how I started. It was 2012, shortly that I formed the parent association at Sunday Chinese School. And then a group of activists from town coming over, giving a seminar about rebuild Winchester High School. And then it was very informational, educational. So many parents were motivated and want to help. So on the way, I walked them out. I asked Jason, I asked Tom, Holly, and Carol. I said, "Are there more we can do?" That's how I started, and the rest is history. Thank you very much.